curtain call, 'cause I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I'll let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations. Should be fake smile, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had, Jenny. I won't let my feelings play a game, so I might as well remove your name. Jenny, you will not stay the same, but I'll be waiting here until the end, till the end, until the end. I'll let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations. Should be fake smile, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had, Jenny. I won't let my feelings play a game, so I might as well remove your name. Jenny, you will not stay the same, but I'll be waiting here until the end. I'm waiting for the curtain call, 'cause I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I'll let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations. Should be fake smile, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had, Jenny. I'm waiting for the curtain call, 'cause I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I'll let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations.
Yeah, it's official. We are back. Welcome to the Steve Freeman Podcast. Sorry, guys, I have been off for the last couple of weeks, but I have been on the road traveling. Let's see, where all have I been to? We've been to Mississippi. We've been to Los Angeles. We go to College Station, Texas next week. And then we might even be in Ohio the week after that. So it's been a tremendously busy last month. And I had every intention of doing the podcast last week. I just couldn't do it, man. I was so worn out. I was completely worn out, and my brain just wasn't really there. So I decided to can it and put a lid on it. Plus, I'd also been all through the new studio. We got everything set up exactly like we thought we wanted it to be. And then I realized that I wanted to go to a 2 PC setup. So that meant tearing the whole thing apart and redoing everything again. So that's what we did. And I tried to fit that in between my trips, Mississippi and Los Angeles. And Los Angeles ended up being a much shorter trip than what I was originally planned to be there. But while I was there, we learned that my oldest daughter was nominated to be inducted into the National Honor Society. And then we found out that she actually did was going to be inducted into the National Honor Society. And that was going to be today, which we did this morning. I had to go to the school and see all that. So we're super proud of her, but I wanted to make sure that I was here for that. So I went ahead and cut my trip short and flew back home to Nashville, tried to get some rest over the weekend once I finally got back in. But yeah, it's just been really busy. It's going to be a very busy next couple of weeks. Like I said, I think I fly out first thing Monday morning for College Station, Texas, to meet up with an artist that we work with down there, Morgan Ashley, Texas artist. Our company's shooting a music video for her new single that's coming out. And then I think I get back on Wednesday, and I've got to write Wednesday afternoon. Then I've got to write all day Thursday with April Cry and Caitlin Baker. And then I go into the studio and produce a new EP on Friday mornings. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be a nuts next couple of weeks. But the good news is I will be out of town next Tuesday. But I think what we're going to try to do is I've got the whole new mobile rig and everything like that set up. So I think what we may do is actually do the podcast live from College Station, Texas, next Tuesday night. That's the plan as we see it right now. As long as we wrap filming and we get done, then that's exactly what we're probably going to do, because I think my flight leaves Houston really, really, really early Wednesday morning. So I'll want to go ahead and be back in, the hotel anyway. Getting ready to get packed up, because I think I'm back in Nashville by like 8:30 in the morning on Wednesday. So, and then as soon as I get back, I've got an artist coming over and another songwriter coming over to go through and help him write all of the songs we're going to be cutting on Friday morning for his EP. So, yeah, it's been busy, but busy is good. I'm not going to complain for a single second. I can tell you it's good to be back with you guys as always, no matter where you're watching from tonight, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Twitch. I did something a little different tonight. I'm not relying on this system to feed me all of the comments. I've just went ahead, now that we're running a dual PC setup, I can have multiple things open on all these different monitors, and one computer's handling the streaming, another computer's handling everything else. And so now I can actually have the Twitch chat window open and the YouTube chat open. So I can see all of them now. And I realized upon watching the rebroadcast of the last podcast that I was not seeing any of the Twitch comment. And there was a lot of activity going on Twitch coming in from the Twitch chat. And I wasn't seeing it. I didn't see it. So, and I didn't know it was there. So I don't want to do that again. So from now on, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have it open right here so that I can see it, and there's not any issue. I do want to get to some of your questions and comments if you've got any tonight, for sure. The topics that I want to talk about tonight, I do want to talk about Old Town Road, the Lil Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus thing. I want to talk about Tiger winning the Masters. Game of Thrones comes back. Plus, I want to hit a little bit on Disney Plus, and I would like to find out what you guys are thinking. I want to dive right in tonight. I want to start on music stuff because a couple weeks ago I was gaming. I was playing a game and people in chat were talking about this new single, Old Town Road. At the time, I had not heard it, and to be in full transparency, the first time I've heard this song was today. I pulled it up today and listened to it because I hadn't heard it, other than what I was hearing him play through whenever he was playing and streaming. I could hear a little bit of it. And there's quite the controversy going on about the song, especially with the version that Billy Ray Cyrus is on, because Billboard yanked it from the country charts, coming up the country charts. You know, there's all sorts of things now. It's not just radio airplay that go into making up the Hot 100 or each one of the charts. It has to do with radio airplay. It has to do with streams. It has to do with sales. A lot of other factors are going into what makes up that chart position. Now, I don't think there were a lot of country radio stations playing Old Town Road. I could be wrong in that. If there are country radio stations out there playing Old Town Road, they need to stop immediately because it's not country in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if that song is country, then we need to start playing Post Malone on country radio, because some of his, he mentions Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, so therefore it's country. So now we need to start playing Wow or whatever it is on country radio. So there's this big thing going around on whether or not it should be included on country radio, which it should not under any circumstances. We can have the debate in the conversation about what is country and what isn't country. Is Florida Georgia Line country? Is Kelsey Ballerini country? Are any of these other acts, Brett Young, is he country? I will say that until this argument has come up, that I've never felt more like Florida Georgia Line and some of these other acts that are similar, that have been dubbed in the quote-unquote bro country, kind of genre, offshoot of country. I've never felt more like they are country than when you compare it to Lil Nas X's Old Town Road. And speaking of that, has anybody else noticed, or am I the only one, that all these rappers now have the same name? Like there's a Nas, right? Now and there's a Lil Pump and a little this and a little that. There's a bunch of Lils out there. There's a bunch of Nas's out there. Now this is Lil Nas X. There's two Khalids. It's like they were just stealing each other's. I don't know what's going on with that genre of music right now. The amazing thing is that since its release, this song has now spent 2 weeks at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 charts. It's racked up over 143 million streams on Spotify. And it's kind of sort of become this viral phenomenon, if you will. And then Billboard made the decision that they were going to pull it from the country chart. And a lot of people were, that's any range of things from wrong to racist. And my argument on this whole thing is, if you've heard the song is not country at all. I'm not saying it's a bad song. It's certainly not my cup of tea. But I'm not saying that it's bad. I am saying that it's not country. And throwing Billy Ray Cyrus on it doesn't make it country. Does it make it a better song? I listened to both versions. I happen to like the version with Billy Ray on it better. Is it a little bit more authentic? Yes. But man, is it a slippery slope when we start thinking that we say words, what we all call quote unquote country, that when we say things like trucks or horses or blue jeans or Wranglers, that all of a sudden now those pop culture and brand awareness icons will now start determining what a song is considered. I think that's a very, very, very slippery slope, because the song is not country. But I did want to read you some interesting facts. And this is interesting because many of you know Billy Ray Cyrus is, if you don't know, had a career before he was known as Miley Cyrus's dad. Okay, this is for us that grew up back in the late 80s, early to mid 90s. And the mid 90s is when I started my radio career. So, well, actually early 90s, but I was in radio at the time of Achy Breaky Heart. And I remember playing it on the radio stations. And I remember what a phenomenon it was. And the song did go to number 1 on the country charts, but it never went to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Matter of fact, across all of Billy Ray Cyrus's top 10s and the other songs that he had that had a lot of success, he never found the number 1 spot on the Hot 100 charts. Now, Billy Ray Cyrus has his first number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100's chart at the age of 57. It also makes him one of the oldest artists to reach the top spot for the first time, which I think is very, very, very cool. Now, he's behind Carlos Santana, who hit number 1 in 99 with Smooth, remember, with Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20. He was 62. I just find that awful interesting that in all these years of having a career in the entertainment business and in music, that Billy Ray Cyrus had never hit the top 100, number 1 of the top 100 charts. So, but now it's been 2 weeks in a row that Old Town Road has been on top of the Billboard Hot 100 chart. As far as the controversy goes, I would love to hear from somebody that totally disagrees with me and thinks that it belongs on the country chart. More so than just hearing from somebody, I'd like for you to tell me why you think that is. Because if that's the case, then half of the records that are out on the country charts belong on the pop charts. Because whether you like it or not, they are more pop than they are country. Again, I'm not saying, look, I've embraced the fact as a writer and producer that times have changed. That country music will never go back to being country. So everybody that bitches and moans and complains about that, it's fault. Your complaint and your problems are for naught. It's never going to go back. Country music, as those of us that are in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and older, it's never going to go back to what you and I would define and call country, ever. So I understand that everything evolves. Every music genre evolves. I mean, you've got to think, we just this past week lost Earl Thomas Conley. In my opinion, one of the best country voices of all time. I mean, Holding Her, Loving You is one of my favorite songs, not just country songs, but favorite songs of all time. There was a definite jump and leap in style from Earl Thomas Conley to Alan Jackson and Shenandoah and Garth Brooks and Clint Black. Then there was a jump from that to things like Brooks and Dunn and Tim McGraw and Keith Urban. And now there's been a jump from Keith Urban to Florida Georgia Line and Brett Young and all of the new country acts. So yes, it's going to jump again. Now it'll be Florida Georgia Line has gone to something else, but I think we need to be careful that we understand we've got to somehow keep some of the fundamentals and the basics of what we consider any genre to be, that it has to have elements of those things in it. And I think that those elements have to go beyond having an acoustic guitar or talking about things that we consider culturally are country. And I feel the same way about pop music, or the same way about R&B music, the same way about rap. I don't think that because Florida Georgia Line raps in some of their songs that their songs belong on the R&B or rap charts. They don't. And I guess that for a lot of you that do have an issue with where music is going, and that's one way to rationalize it and look at it and say that, okay, we don't think that Lil Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus with Old Town Road should be on the country charts any more than people that like rap music think that Florida Georgia Line should be on the rap charts, which they shouldn't. The main thing that I'm taking away from this, number one, I'm excited for Billy Ray Cyrus. First time in his entire career to hit Billboard's number 1 spot on the Hot 100. I think that's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with the song. Like I said, it's not my cup of tea. It's not my thing. but I know that it's not country because I write and produce just about every genre of music that you can get into, except for contemporary Christian. And we've had that conversation. I don't do any of that anymore. Not because I don't believe, it's just because it's the dirtiest, most backstabbing, rotten piece of the sector or genre of the music business that you could ever possibly imagine. That's my reasoning for that. But I think we do have to be careful about what we start calling things. Either that, or we go back to the way things were in the 40s and 50s where there were no genres. There were absolutely no genres at all. You would tune into a radio station, they would play Hank Williams, and then they'd play the Platters, and then they'd play the Temptations, and then they'd play Patsy Cline. When I think about it really in depth, it really wouldn't bother me at all if we did do away with genre. Which basically isn't that kind of what we're doing now anyway with streaming? Because now we all have playlists, whether it's Spotify or whether it's Apple Music or Amazon MP3. We all have an eclectic choice of our favorite music that we choose to put in playlists that we just hit play. And those playlists are made up of every different kind of music you can possibly imagine. And that's a good thing. So I find it interesting. I also find it interesting that, and I want to bring up another topic which might get me in trouble. But see, I'd never heard of this guy. It's like he's come out of nowhere, this little Nas X. I'd never heard of him. Same thing goes with, there again, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but I really don't care. My Instagram feed, Facebook feed for when I'm on there, and Twitter, for the last week, I swear to God, every other post is about Nipsey Hussle. And it's horrible, the guy getting shot and getting killed. It's absolutely horrible. But am I the only one that had no freaking clue who this guy was before he died? I mean, if you look at Instagram and social media, you would think that this guy was Jesus Christ. Like we had just lost one of the pillars of the creative community, like Prince. I mean, maybe I'm just out of touch and I don't know. I asked my daughters, and of course they knew who he was. I didn't know. But I know who Nipsey Hussle is now. I just never heard of the guy before. Ever. I can't tell you one single song that Nipsey Hussle ever had. Like I said, it's horrible, tragic situation with him dying and being shot and being gone. Evidently, he meant a lot to a lot of people. I just never heard any of these people talk about Nipsey Hussle. So maybe enough about that. But I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts. What do you guys think? Like I said, I listened to this song, The Old Town Road, for the first time today. I listened to both versions. I have to say that I actually kind of liked the song. I liked the version with Billy Ray Cyrus in it because the style of song is almost more that rootsy outlaw country thing mixed with rap, which I dig. I mean, I like that a lot. I saw which I thought was really interesting. And we know a lot of the same people, and I know my people have reached out. But I would love to get Ryan Upchurch on the podcast soon. He put up a video on YouTube the other day responding to somebody that was responding to one of his videos. And in this, he got into a debate about, this is not new. Country rap or hip hop or whatever it is that you want to call it is not new. And it's not. There are so many people. That is a huge genre unto itself. It's kind of an underground thing. The only way that I can relate it to anything that I know is it reminds me back in the late 80s, early 90s of the underground pop or underground alternative rock and pop scene. Almost like punk rock, if you will. It's a very dedicated, loyal, and large fan base. But people and artists like Upchurch have been doing it for years. with much success. They sell a lot of records. They have built a tremendous fan base. That guy, especially Upchurch, that guy, if you are an independent artist and you aren't modeling your career after his, you're ignorant, because he's done it the right way. He has gone out. He has developed a fan base via his personality, his lifestyle, and who he is genuinely as a human being. And then he brought this fan base in and he started doing his music and everything. But the thing of it is he doesn't just do hip hop. He doesn't just do rock. He doesn't just do country. He does what he wants to do, and his fan base follows him wherever he goes. It doesn't matter what kind of music he does, because his fans are bought into him. They buy into Ryan Upchurch. So he kind of lit into this guy in his review the other day and just went on. And I'll be the first one to admit, I don't know, and I'm not as familiar with a lot of those artists that do the hip hop thing or the country rap thing. I know that they are just as talented in what they do and the process in which they do it as great artists in any other genre, any other format. But I will say that I don't even think that this song fits into that category. I don't think it fits into hip hop. It's a rap song that has flavors of country music in it. To me, hip hop is the other way around. It's almost country music with rap, R&B, and hip hop infusion, where you bring the two together. When I listen to some of Ryan Upchurch's things, I hear country and rap fused together, and other influences like rock music and southern rock and classic rock. I hear that fusion. When I hear Old Town Road, all I hear is a rap song with some lyrics in it that say things like truck and Wranglers and stuff like that, horse. That's all I hear. But that's just me. Interesting though. I'm not shaming the song. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that's kind of my takeaway from it. Should it have spent the last 2 weeks on top of the Billboard Hot 100? Is it worthy of 143 million spins? I don't think. I wouldn't listen to it. I mean, I listened to it today and I thought it was okay. I kind of even liked it, but I wouldn't listen to it again. You know, it's almost disposable to me. I consumed it, I heard it, and now I've thrown it away. I don't care if I ever hear it again. So for it to get 143 million spins does two things to me. One, it scares the ever-loving daylights out of me. And two, it actually confirms what I've been saying for years. And that is that the patients are loose in the asylum. And we have officially handed the music business over to 12 to 17-year-olds that don't make enough money to buy music. That's why we have streaming as it is right now. The last word that I'm going to say on why I don't think it should be on the country charts, other than it's not a country song, doesn't sound like a country song, which should be the criteria, is that I don't think that it's fair for a lot of other artists out there that are busting their ass, that have been busting their ass, doing things the right way, struggling, being persistent, being consistent, and sacrificing. Like we've talked before, those are my 3 keys to success: sacrifice, persistence, and consistency. That still are out in the public eye. They're out on the road. They're having success at radio, but they're still not hitting that point on the country radio charts where it's helping them, or the Billboard Hot 100, which basically is the top 30. You could stretch that maybe to the top 40. But really, if you can't get into the top 30, there's no use in trying, and no independent artist gets inside the top 30. It doesn't happen. Now, you see, I've talked about this at length before. You might see what you would call a quote-unquote independent artist in the top 30, but they are affiliated with a Universal, Sony, Warner Brothers in some way or form. They're affiliated or on an imprint label, or Universal's handling, or Warner Brothers or Sony are handling all of the radio promotions and the marketing, and it's a marketing and distribution deal. You might see that, but you don't ever see a true independent that has no ties whatsoever to a major label hit the top 30. And if you, as an independent artist, you want to start booking shows for better money, and you want all of the things that come along with that, you have got to get into the top 30. because it's at that point when you start getting played on all the radio stations that really matter. And no, I'm not talking bad about smaller radio stations or small markets, but the fact of the matter is that spins at country radio and every other format are what we call weighted. So that a spin in Los Angeles on a radio station is worth more than a spin on a radio station in Nashville. So when you reach that top 30, you are going to start getting spins at the large and major market radio stations. And those are weighted so heavily that that's what pushes people up the chart. And you get exposed to the greater number of people. That's how you go from being a B, C level artist into an A-list artist, is when you start being recognized and being put in the conversation with the major markets, your Houstons, your Dallas, Los Angeles, New York, Miami, Atlanta. And I'm skipping over a lot of them, but there's several major markets. And so for this guy to just automatically now, because he's had something viral, to be on the charts, I think is disrespectful and almost a slap in the face to so many artists, major label artists as well that cannot crack it and get on the country charts. I just don't think that it deserves to be there. So that's my argument. I'm not complaining about the song. It was a neat little ditty, but that's all it was to me. It was just a little ditty. Like I said, I consumed it and I'm done with it. So there's my thought on that. I would love to hear you guys' opinion as well. You can type whatever it is that you want, your questions or comments, in the Twitch chat section, or you can also put, if you're watching on YouTube, do the same thing. Type it in comments. It pops right up here in front of me. Big Mike's in the house tonight. Dwayne, good to see you in here as well. Diana, good to have you here. Diana says, thank you so much for these podcasts. Your music industry advice has really helped shape my career. Awesome. That's good to hear. That's what we want. Zapper2K is in the house. One of the other things I want to talk about tonight is Tiger winning the Masters. I was sitting there watching because I love golf. I don't golf as much as I should or as much as I want to, but I used to, and I want to get back to it. But I always, when it comes, whether I'm currently playing or into it or not, I'm always into it when they play the majors, and in particular the Masters. The last 2 years, 3 years, I believe, in Tiger trying to come back have led up to this year's Masters. And as I sat there and I watched, I was just like, I told my wife, I said, if he wins, this will probably go down to date the greatest comeback story of all time. I mean, it's been like 12, 13, 14 years since he won a major. Think of everything the guy's gone through, the scandals, the stuff with all of the women and the kids, and then trying to come back but being completely unhealthy and having to have all of the surgeries on his back and his ankles and his knees and everything else to come back and win another major. I thought was, regardless of what you think about Tiger Woods, and look, I understand that when all of that happened and the whole thing with having the wreck and then realizing that he was on drugs and that leading into coming out that he was an epic womanizer, which I don't know why we're ever surprised at that. It's like it always shocks me when people are surprised when you hear something about the president of the United States, no matter what party or what era, has had an issue with women. I don't know why that surprises people. So no matter what you think of Tiger, it is a major accomplishment, no pun intended, for him to come back, compete, and win another major. Now, I'm not like all these other people going, Tiger is back and he's going to dominate. I don't know. I do know that last week on one of the toughest golf courses in the world, playing against the world's top competition, he stared them all down and won. In spite of everything that the guys had to go through in his life, sitting there watching him walk off. What I thought was strange is that I've seen Tiger win every single one of his majors, every single one. And, he always would walk off and hug his wife or girlfriend or, mom and dad when his dad was alive. But seeing him walk off of that green and have his son and his daughter there, I think even for him, this was a completely different transformative moment in his life, because I don't think his son or his daughter were alive the last time he won a major. Maybe the son for sure, but I don't know if his daughter's over 14 or not. I was so happy for the guy. He may go on and win more and actually break the record, which would be great for the game of golf. That's the other thing too. Him winning was so good for the game of golf. Because, let's face it, if you're a golf fan, sometimes now I quit watching because it's like I start looking up there and it's like you don't even recognize most of the names on there. Tiger was the best thing that ever happened to golf. And now, once again, he's the best thing that could ever possibly happen for golf with him winning the Masters. So much congratulations to Tiger Woods on winning the 2019 Masters. It's going to be interesting. 5th green jacket. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, as this is the year's first major. What happens over the course of the next 3? The British Open coming up, U.S. Open, the Players' Championship. It'll be interesting to see. It would be weird in a way, but exciting to see him reclaim the world's number 1 position again. That, again, would be another huge accomplishment. So regardless of what you think about Tiger, I say congratulations. I say that we are all worthy and deserving of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th chances. And he got his, and it looks like that he is at least attempting to make the most of it spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I say, as a person, that's all you can expect from somebody, is to learn from their mistakes and try to recover and come back better than ever, or at least a better person. And that's what I see. You may see something different, but that's what I see. Also, other news this week. How many people saw that Disney Plus is coming as its own streaming platform? It's going to have, of course, everything that Disney owns. It's going to have all of the Marvel stuff. It's going to have all of the Star Wars stuff. There's even new original programming coming from the Star Wars universe. And I think they priced it. I think it's $5.99 a month, $6 a month, something like that. And I saw a lot of tech people getting like up in arms over this and say, oh, Disney Plus is going to kill Netflix. It's going to kill Apple Plus. It's going to kill Amazon. It's going to kill Hulu and all these others. And I'm sitting back thinking, okay, I have satellite TV. And this is almost sad to admit, but it's the truth. I have DirecTV. I have YouTube TV. I have YouTube Premium. I have Netflix. I have Amazon Prime. I have Hulu. I've got it all. And I'm sitting there thinking that I don't think Disney Plus is going to kill anybody. I think everybody's just going to add it. Like, it'll just be another $6 a month that you spend on content. Just like most people I know have Netflix and Amazon, or Netflix and Hulu, or all three like I do. So I don't think that the platform is going to kill anything. I think more than anything, it's just going to be another service. But I will say this. I bet that Disney Plus actually brings in people that currently may not subscribe to a streaming platform, which I think is great, because I think, even DirecTV now has gone with DirecTV Now. I mean, you don't even have to have the satellite dish anymore. I think everything is going to be streaming, and all of these different, apps and media networks will all be their own thing, probably. I don't know if there will ever be another thing where, if DirecTV or satellite cable companies, things like that, if there will be one service that you can go to have all of them. They're all starting to see the value of Netflix, because Netflix is killing the entertainment industry right now. And I don't mean killing it. I mean, they are literally killing it. I mean, they're doing amazing with original programming and original movies and the series that they're pulling in. Amazon's doing the same thing. Hulu is doing the same thing as well. So I would imagine when you add that Disney, one of the largest companies on the face of the earth, is going to have their own streaming platform where you can watch all of the Disney movies, all of the original Disney shows that will be or have ever been, plus all of the Marvel content and Star Wars content, and no telling what else they're going to go out and buy. I think it's going to probably, at $6 a month, I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, that's amazing. So I say bring it on. I don't think that they are posing any kind of threat whatsoever to Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or any of your favorite streaming platforms. Like Vudu's another one of mine. Now, Vudu, it's got some free stuff on it, but you know, they usually get all of the big movies before they come out on Blu-ray or DVD or even on demand on DirecTV or cable outlets. They always have them first. So, I mean, if it's not available on streaming, that's my first go-to is Vudu. I'm a poet, didn't know it. But that's where I buy like the movies when they first come out. That's where I'll buy them. Or if there's a show, like I was almost brought to tears by the end of the Grand Tour last week. I just got into the show like a month ago and I binged all 3 seasons, and they're ending the show as it is in its current form. So now I'm going back and I'm watching their old show Top Gear on the BBC. I'm buying all the seasons of that, going back and watching them sequentially backwards so that I kind of know. Now that I know them, I didn't want to start at the beginning and come through. I wanted to start at the season before the show went over to Amazon and then work my way back. And the Grand Tour will be returning to Amazon, but in a different format. They're not going to have the tent. They're not going to do the live studio audience, all that. It'll be more like their short films and their specials, which is fine because those were the best shows anyway, and they are awesome. Those 3 guys, I think, have the absolute best personalities of just about anybody I've ever seen on TV, with Jeremy Clarkson and now I'm going to forget everybody else's name, but they're just absolutely brilliant. And if you've never watched the Grand Tour, see, I'm a car guy. I own a lot of cars, so I'm a car guy, so I love the show because of that. But then you start watching the show, and even if you hate cars or anything to do with cars, you're going to love the show. It's just absolutely amazing. And I would encourage anybody to check it out. Speaking of shows, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has returned. Watched the first episode of the new season, final season, the other night. And I had watched it, so it was safe for me to get on social media. That's the thing with Game of Thrones, man. You cannot like DVR it or on demand it the day after and get on any kind of social media, or you will know exactly how it ends or what happens, what was the big thing. And then it makes watching it kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'll watch it. Might as well. I've invested 8 years. So that's at least one show that I always watch when it airs so that I'm free to get on Instagram, Twitter, or anywhere else. And I don't have to worry about all of the spoilers. But it amazed me, and I realized either I'm not as smart as I think I am, or I'm just aloof. Because after it aired and I did get on social media, I started seeing people talking about, how that was, you remember in season 2, episode 4, that's what that meant in this episode. And it's like, I've seen every second, every minute, every hour, every episode, every season of Game of Thrones. And I don't remember everything that happened, but there are people that remember every character, every name, every place, every scene, that they can tie those things together. Now, I'm not going to go into detail because I don't know, some of you may have not watched it yet. And I'm not going to be the guy that spoils it for you. But I can say that it looks like they're setting everything up that it's going to be probably one of the best, it'll go down in history, one of the best seasons of any show ever. It looks like they're at least attempting, they're going to wrap everything up. So that's going to be interesting. I was glad to see it come back. I think I've watched everything on Netflix. I'm watching All American now. I've got, I think, 2 episodes left. I'm going to finish it tonight. And I think I've watched everything else. So it's like I needed something new to come out. And there are some shows coming out over the next few weeks that look like they might be good too. And of course, summer's always a good time as well. And we are just around the corner from summer. So we'll see. But yeah, Game of Thrones, glad it's back. If you guys got any questions, any comments, please feel free. Put them in the chat section on Twitch or the comment section on YouTube, and it will throw them directly at me. Big Mike says, Tiger effing Woods, man. I was so happy. I was texting my uncle all day. Man, I was right there with you, man. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was great. What did you think of the new Top Gear? I didn't like it. I have never watched any of the American Top Gear or the new cast, the new host, the new show on the BBC. I've never watched it. I like those 3 guys so much that I don't think I would care for it with anybody else. That's just me, though. Chandler Jones, what's up, Steve? It's been a while. Hey, man, good to hear you in here. Good to see you here. Hopefully be seeing you again very, very soon. Dwayne McKnight's in the house. Big Mike says, look at my last comment. Not the greatest comeback. Look up Ben Hogan's comeback. Well, yes, but in the modern era, Ben Hogan didn't have necessarily the absolute social backlash that Tiger did. I mean, Tiger Woods in one day. Well, let's not even say one day. Let's be a little bit more generous and say 1 week. Went from one of the most loved individuals on the face of the planet to one of the most hated individuals on the face of the planet. Ben Hogan didn't necessarily have to go through that. And then you also have to look through the lens of the modern society that we live in, the social media culture that we live in, and the fact that we build these people up and then we tear them down completely in the public eye. I think in the modern era where you have this social media culture and there is no such thing as breaking news because of Twitter and everything else. We know it's almost a live play-by-play of people's lives every day, all day long. Then when you take into context what happened to him and where he's gone and where he is now by winning the Masters, I think it's and when I say best comeback stories of all time, I'm not talking about him winning. I'm just talking about from a personal standpoint of literally burning your life to the ground, to rising back up out of the ashes through everything the guy had to go through to come back and win another major. That's what I'm talking about. It's not necessarily, come back from a sports standpoint or, even from a golf standpoint or anything like that. I'm just talking about personally. It's just that's tough. That's tough. And yeah, he was told Ben Hogan would never walk, and he didn't have modern medicine. I mean, I get it, but there are a lot of stories of people, having accidents and things and being told they'll never walk again and then they walk again. I'm not belittling that. I'm just saying that happens more rarely than somebody losing their entire reputation, their entire life, being totally crashed down around them to the point where you were just pounded into the ground publicly and then rise all the way back up and win a major championship. I don't know. I mean, they're kind of 2 different things. One, you're talking about overcoming a physical thing. And the other, you're talking about just the complete rebuilding of a human being, emotionally, physically, structurally, everything. So it's kind of 2 different scenarios there. All right, guys, anybody else have anything they want to ask? We've got some good shows coming up. I put in a thing today to have a guest on the podcast here in a couple of weeks that I'm looking forward to. And I think all you guys will find it very interesting as well. Be a great music guest. And we've got some things planned over the next few weeks and the coming months and, of course, over the summer. So really looking forward to a lot of that. If you're not following me on social media, that's where you will find out all of the stuff before it happens. It's at the Steve Freeman on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, although I don't do good with Facebook. I'm not on Facebook a lot. I share to Facebook. I'm just not on it a lot. But I'll be posting some hints and some things coming that we'll be doing on the podcast. Plus, we're in the process of filming the new series for the YouTube channel, One-on-One, which is going to be really, really cool. I can't wait for you guys to see some of these interviews that I'm doing with some extremely powerful people that are going to give you some amazing advice, everywhere from the music business to TV and film to entrepreneurs and business leaders. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to be able to show those to you guys. Let's see. I think that's about it for me. I know dinner's hot and on the table. I just mainly, more than anything, wanted to come back in, get my feet wet, get reintroduced to you guys. I don't like being off 2 weeks in a row. I feel like I kind of get out of a groove just a little bit, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So I wanted to make sure we come in tonight, I didn't want to get into anything too deep. And then, like I said, next week we will probably, the podcast will be live on location in College Station, Texas. We'll see how that works. Hopefully the internet at the hotel will be strong enough for us to be able to do it, because I would really like to not have another break right now. That's what I'm shooting for. So like I said, guys, don't forget, follow me on social media at the Steve Freeman. This will be available on demand later tonight on Twitch and YouTube. And of course, tomorrow at noon, like every other episode, it will be live on Spotify, iTunes, and Apple Podcast, and coming soon over the summer to Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku devices. Yes, we're coming to the small screen, I guess you can say. More details about that are coming soon as well. And if you haven't already, one thing that you need to do is be sure and sign up for The Revolution. That is my free, absolutely free weekly blog that I put out, where I talk about things, and it's just kind of more personal. It's a little bit more of me behind the scenes than maybe this show is, or some of the other things that you see on social media. All you got to do is visit thestevefreeman.com and click on The Revolution, and you can sign up. It's absolutely free. I don't sell your information unless people offer me a lot of money for it, and then I'll sell it. No, I won't. I really won't. But it's a good way to communicate. Like I said, it's a little bit more personal, and I let you guys into my personal life a little bit more than I do publicly. And I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of times it's not something that I stage, so I try to do it every week. And there are a lot of, tips and tricks as far as, music business stuff for songwriters and independent artists and producers. But a lot of it too is just like, if something strikes me and I want to write about it and just kind of pour my heart out about it, or what I'm thinking about that's what I use that space for. And so more than anything, it's just me almost in the moment venting on paper and sharing that with you guys. It doesn't get posted anywhere else. It only goes to subscribers. And you can subscribe at the website, thestevefreeman.com, and you can sign up for it. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I really appreciate it. As always, it's good to be back. It is so, so good to be back. I'll see you next week, provided the internet at where am I staying? I don't even remember where I'm staying. It's a nice hotel, though. I saw the pictures. Wait a minute. I've stayed there before. And College Station has Whataburger. This could get dangerous. This could get real dangerous real quick, because Whataburger is not on my diet. But you cannot go to Texas or anywhere in the vicinity of a Whataburger and not have it. Okay, that's neither here nor there. Guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you to everybody who stopped by. Dwayne, Diana Flynn, Chandler, Hot Clue, Big Mike, Zapper2K, and everybody else that is too embarrassed to type something in chat. Thank you guys for being here with us. And I will see you next Tuesday. Until then, keep being creative, keep pushing the boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. See you guys next time.